Joey and Friendz here to save the day. Talking about dolls and making our own way. Talking to visionaries, dreamers, and kin. Anyone can play here cause we all fit in. From Darcy to Body, from Dawn to Glimmer, we talk about world as the lights go dimmer. Follow us to a playground filled with stories and let us entertain you with tales of our glories.
Hi everybody, I'm Joey Dollmaker Versaw and I am here with Nav Sikand. Hello Nav.
Hi, Joey.
How are you this morning? I mean
I'm
it's
good.
late afternoon for it's what 6:30 p.m. your time and
It's
it's
evening, yeah.
10:30 a.m. my time and I where are you located right now? Are you in London or
So, since 2022, I've been living in Switzerland.
Okay, that's what I
So,
initially
yeah,
thought. Yeah.
yeah. So very, very close to Bern, the capital city. But I was born in England and brought up there, and that's where I lived until 2022.
Okay, awesome. I wasn't sure where, if it was England or Switzerland or where, because I know that when I
Yeah,
came to visit Switzerland, you were, at least in close proximity. So yeah,
yeah. I still, obviously, my children are in England, and my grandsons now. I'm a grandpa, so
that's
I'm
so
I'm in
cool.
England a lot. But my official place of living is Switzerland now.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, let's just get into it. What, growing up, did you have any experience in your childhood with dolls that kind of sparked something for you?
Massively, massively. So I'm the youngest of five children, with four older sisters. And while they didn't have a lot of dolls, they did have some. And my third sister, Monica, she had a best friend called Linda, who lived across the road from us, who was probably the most spoilt and indulged girl in the whole of England. I mean, she literally, I didn't know what they were at the time, but with hindsight, and it's amazing how much I remember because I was like 4, 5. She had every doll you can think of, from Tammy, Barbie, Misty, Tressie, Pippa, Dawn, like every fashion doll you can think of. She had this huge box. And I even remember she had like Japanese exclusive fashions. And as far as I know, they were quite a working class family. And the father never went abroad, but she definitely had two Tammy Japanese exclusive dresses because I've seen them since in like guidebooks. So
Yeah.
anyway, that was my first exposure. And coming from a good Sikh Indian family, boys definitely did not play with dolls. So I was not allowed them. But she would come over for play dates and I would look at them. And then there was a big old fashioned local toy shop, when there were still independent toy shops with amazing displays. And I just used to look and covet the things. And the things I remember the most that I really wanted were Cindy dolls, which is like a UK version of Tammy.
Was that
And
during the time that Marx was making them, or Pedigree?
yeah, so it was the 70s. So this would have been sort of mid to late 70s. So that was the
Pedigree
height
then.
of pedigree. But I think Marx was making them for the American market, something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And so there'd be these huge displays of Cindy and Pippa, which was like the English Dawn,
I
like a
love
6-inch
Pippa.
doll.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And the other one was the TV dolls. So there was Charlie's Angels and Bionic Woman. And
Yes.
I just used to go with a bag of sweets like a little weirdo and just stare at these window displays and sort of covet these dolls from my neighbor. And she eventually, secretly, she gave me a Pippa doll, a brick doll, who was one of Pippa's friends.
Oh, and that's perfect because it's tiny, so you can hide it.
Yeah. And my parents did discover it and they did hide her at one point. And
Oh, that's
I
terrible.
remember going on hunger strike to get her back. which they finally relented. And I remember them sort of discussing it with neighbors, and they were saying, "Oh, he'll grow out of it. Don't worry, it's normal." But on the plus side, um, my parents, who didn't have much money, didn't really buy toys for us. Whenever I showed an interest in boys' toys, they were just on it and they would just buy it for me, trying to
Right.
encourage. So I had all the Star Wars, all the He-Man figures, Action Man. They were just like, "Oh, let's encourage him." So
Yeah, I had kind of the similar experience. They wouldn't get me dolls, but I could have all the He-Man and G.I. Joe and, whatnot. I did talk my mom into allowing ponies into the house. She was like, well, I guess they're horses and it's okay. So I have like rainbow-haired ponies that I'm braiding the hair.
I do remember once seeing a video that you posted with your grandma, and was it some kind of glowworm that she bought you or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I liked the glowworms. Anything that was like I could get close enough to dolls, but not being dolls that I could get them
yeah.
to like get me, but yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
so
so
fun.
funny. Yeah, yeah. So that was my introduction, and my sisters kind of grew out of dolls for, well, quite quickly. I don't really know what happened to their stuff, but the interest stuck with me till I was about 12, and then I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
Um, Went into my teens, and every now and then you'd see a magazine article or a TV program, and I'd always feel really nostalgic. Um, I started collecting when I was in my mid to late 20s, in the 90s, and I'd gone to university, I started my corporate career in the oil and gas industry, and one day I was at work and I was bored for some reason, and internet and eBay and all that stuff was in its infancy, and I just thought,
Yeah.
let me see if I can remember the toys that I remember from childhood. And it's so funny, Joey, because it was like, I think I typed in Pippa dolls and there were like seven auctions. And I typed in Cindy and there was like, 15 auctions. That's how early it was,
Uh-huh.
like compared to now where there's like hundreds. And I saw there was a shop in the south of England in Portsmouth called the Magic Toy Box, and they'd had a toy shop in the 60s and 70s. So they had loads of ex stock, so NRFB and mint in box, and they had the whole collection of Pippa dolls, mint in box,
Wow.
for like £80. Like now they sell for like 500 or whatever. And I thought, I'm going to buy those because they were just so evocative, especially in the boxes.
Yeah.
And I did, and it was just a slippery slope from there.
Yeah.
Where you think, I'll be happy when I've got those. Well, now I've got those, I need those. And now I've got blondes, I need brunettes. You know how it goes.
Uh-huh, it grows. And then on your, search and whatnot, then there's all the new discoveries of like, oh, I didn't know that existed or that fashion doll. And then, there
Yeah,
becomes an obsession for something new.
yeah. And then it became the thing of getting the things I really wanted but was not allowed, like the Charlie's Angels dolls. I loved that show.
Yeah.
And I wanted those dolls so badly. I used to cut them out of the catalogs and make them into like paper dolls. And I was a weird kid. Um,
No, I love that. I did the same thing with the Sears catalogs with the strawberry shortcake characters.
right.
I cut them out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's the closest thing we could get, wasn't it, when we weren't allowed them? So,
Exactly.
yeah. So it started off just wanting the things that I remembered, and it's sort of ended up like that.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
That's so cool. Well, I was looking on Flickr and because of course that's where we originally met and because I was trying to figure out a timestamp. We've been friends for at least 17 years. Like, I think
Oh,
if
is it
not
that
longer.
long?
Yeah, yeah, isn't that crazy?
I
Um,
remember we both had we didn't have grey hair when we met. I
No,
remember that.
no. Yeah. But and I remember, in the early days on Flickr, you were creating these amazingly beautiful one of a kind dolls. I think that to this day, your Sun dolls are reproductions that you made were probably my favorite I've ever seen. You did such a beautiful
Oh wow.
job, and I remember just being captivated by the Tonner dolls that you had repainted,
Oh yeah.
and then some of the vintage Barbies that you were doing, or even reproduction Barbies that you were making look like vintage Barbies, and they were so incredible. And so, in my experience, that's what really originally I was introduced to your artwork, through Flickr, and just a big fan of how beautiful, your dolls were.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot because we'll come to my influences and how I started as a doll maker, and you definitely played a big part in that. But I'll
Well,
explain more about that when we get to it.
yeah, I think, I really, as weird as it sounds, I really am so thankful for that space that we had on Flickr, because I know a lot of people, including myself, really moved over to Facebook and Instagram and stuff. I mean, I still have my Flickr account up and everything, but I'm not really active on Flickr. But I'm really thankful for that safe space that we had, and I'm still connected to so many people from that time period, like Mimosa and Brian Apuzzo and Branny and whatnot. And I felt like it was a special. I don't know. It felt like a special time and a special, place that we were all able to kind of get to know each other, maybe a little more intimate than you can on Facebook now, because there's so many people. I think it was maybe a smaller circle of people on Flickr in those days, but it was. I'm very thankful that we had that time.
You're so right, and it was more innocent, wasn't it? Somehow,
Yeah, yeah,
and it was all about the dolls. There was so much less. I think the way the platform was, it wasn't social media in the sense that Facebook is. So you weren't sharing posts on other topics and getting drawn into other discussions. It was purely about the photography of the dolls and
right.
that passion, wasn't it? So I think it kind of filtered out a lot of the crap. And we were all there for the same reason, enjoyed the same things. You followed people that you liked and liked what their photographs were. So
Yeah.
kind of just the way it was structured, it kind of brought out the best, didn't it? And it was like it was a special time. I do miss it, and I don't really know. It's hard though, isn't it? When you get involved in other things like Instagram and Facebook, and you do your own blogs or whatever, it takes so much time and energy, doesn't it? And you
So
have to
much
start
time and energy. And
and
that's one
and
thing
things.
that I don't think people realize as being an artist is, our strong suit is being an artist. It's not being a PR person, and that's the one
Yeah,
thing that's really difficult, is because you have to kind of put your fingers in all these different pies and learn, how to promote or how to use these different platforms, and it's definitely not my strong suit. I do my best
yeah,
with technology, but
yeah. It's essential once you start making dolls like we do. I mean, before I don't think I even had Facebook. I don't think I had. Certainly didn't have Instagram. I didn't have Facebook, and it took me a long, long time to even join Flickr. But most of my client base is in other countries, and
yeah,
I would have no job because it's my full time job without all that social media. So it's a necessary evil, isn't it? Really.
it really is. It really is. Well, so I know that Bollywood of the 60s is a big inspiration for you. So growing up, I imagine those movies were somewhat nostalgic and just something that you really connected to because of the beautiful costumes and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, growing up, my parents would they would make us watch Bollywood films because they felt like it was because we were born and brought up in the UK and we were essentially English children and they didn't live in an area where there were lots of Indians. They didn't really have Indian friends. So I think it was their way of trying to keep us connected to our heritage and our roots. So yeah, I mean, just as I'm nostalgic, I'm a sentimental and nostalgic person anyway. So anything to do with the past and things from my childhood, I'm just so yeah. Even though I was born in the 70s, the films my mom and dad enjoyed as young people were from the 50s and 60s, and that's what they would make us watch. And yeah, I was captivated by they're very camp and they're very colourful and kitsch and the overblown fashions. And I mean, I love everything to do with the 60s, not just Bollywood. That is my decade. I don't know why, as it is for so many of us. It just so many people that are
Yeah.
born in the 70s or 80s or 90s. There's something about the 60s that just attracts people. I don't know what it is.
It might be our
Um,
parents. Like, I know that when I was a little kid, I would get into my mom's scrapbooks and things like that, and I was really fascinated by the fashions that she wore, that I'd see the old teenage pictures of her and stuff like that. And I feel like
yeah,
it felt it was a way for us to connect to our parents' world because we kind of were indoctrinated a little bit by like listening to their music or having them put on these movies and stuff. So I feel like it makes
yeah.
sense that we would gravitate towards something like that.
But also in England, there were a lot of reruns of 60s shows and
Yes.
films. So we were exposed uh, to a lot of that stuff, like Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie and Star
Same
Trek.
here.
And
Gilligan's Isle and yeah.
yeah, so it was quite familiar, even though it was before our time, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did always stay with me. And the thing that about 60s Bollywood, you see, people hear Bollywood and they just think they hear sitar music and they think of spangles and bangles and saris, but it was actually very cosmopolitan, very
Yes.
westernized. So
Yes.
they were, uber glamorous. They were very influenced by what was happening in France and Italy, and it was all winged eyeliner and bouffants and mini skirts and go-go boots. And I did a series of my Anouk based on Bollywood, and I think people were surprised because with the pre-build-up, they were expecting more exotic ideas of what Indian fashion is. So
Yes.
there may have been a bit of disappointment because it is a fusion. So while there were many Indian sort of elements like the fabrics, there were mini skirts, boots, and that sort of thing. So I think people were a bit confused by that. But I tried to uh, expose them to what it was by posting clips and
Yeah.
images. So
And I love
yeah,
that because it helps tell the story for sure, you know. I love that you kind of had mixed in those vintage clips and I don't want to get ahead of myself to talk about how genius and how incredible you are with you're really making it feel like this doll was made in that time period. Like it was something that you could go to the store and buy, even though it's a modern product. And it's not just a modern product based on something nostalgic. It actually is something, you make it feel like it really is a legitimate thing that you could have gone to Woolworths in 1962 and picked up off the shelf, or the late 60s or whatever. Yeah.
That's fabulous to hear, because when I started the project, that's exactly what I wanted. I
Yeah.
wanted people to feel that, oh, this was something from the 60s. And the biggest compliment I ever get, and the thing that makes me happy, is when vintage collectors buy one of my dolls and they say, normally I'm strictly vintage, but it's so well done.
Yeah.
And in the context, the way you present it, I've made an exception. And that's like the big payoff for me.
That's so amazing.
Um,
And I mean that's exactly, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, you make it feel so good. It's so quality. It's so it just feels everything down to the way you package, the way that you promote, the artwork, the booklets, everything is just fantastic and it's like perfect. I mean, you have it all in this like perfect little recipe and it's really really beautiful. I so let's what got you started on this journey of Anouk? What brought this about for you?
so obviously, I was a collector first and foremost. And I was focusing firstly, as I said, on the dolls I remember as a child. And then, as you rightly pointed out, you get exposed to other things. And I discovered like dolls made in Mexico and Brazil and Germany and France. And it was just like, wow, there's so much more. It's such a huge world and so many obscure dolls that I'd never heard of before that actually became my favorites, even though they had no emotional or nostalgic connection because I wasn't even aware of them. And I just kind of, I got to get this right in the chronological order right in my memory.
Yeah.
So I started my career after university. I went to university. I did a degree in art history and I started a career in the corporate world, but it was never really me and I never enjoyed it. It was very well paid, but it was very stressful. And I did that for about 10 years and then I got seriously ill. I don't really want to go into that, but I was off work basically. And I was just kind of thinking, do I really want to go back to that world? And the answer was no. And I thought, well, what can I do? And I always feel like if you do something you're passionate about and really interested in, you've got more of a chance of being successful. So there's two things that I was really passionate about. One by that time was vintage toys and dolls, and the other was films. So I wasn't going to become a filmmaker. So I thought, well, what can I do? And I thought, well, I can combine the two, like my passion for vintage film and dolls. So my first doll making was the portrait dolls, the Tonner dolls that you were talking about. So I would buy these Robert Tonner dolls, Sidney Chase and Tyler Wentworth, and I would make them over into like Rita Hayworth, Hedy Lamarr, all those icons. And sell them on eBay basically. And then eventually I got a little bit of recognition for them. And then people started to commission me. And I just thought, how can I take this to the next level? Because it wasn't generating enough income at that point, and I was having to do other things. And I thought, I really want to do this full time. And then I started looking at fashion dolls more. And I started customizing like things that were never produced, like prototypes and very rare dolls. So, like you said, I would take a TNT and turn her into a mod prototype that you'd see in Miller's Guide that was never produced, or the Sun Francie that's very rare. And they actually started to sell really well, and I would get lots of commissions for those. But as you know, if you're creative, you sort of evolve and the goalposts move. And then I started thinking, I really want to do my own doll. And but I was a bit scared. It's a big investment, and I was researching about it, and I was thinking about it and putting it off for years. And I was doing these one of a kinds, and then I started taking the reproduction Barbies and turning those into build lilies. Um, and that was initially going to be my first project if I was going to make a doll. But then Julian Kalinowski came out with his Lalka dolls, and he just did it so fantastically and at such a high level. I just thought, forget that idea.
Yeah.
That's been done now, and you can't better that. And yeah, I was just thinking about it, and then you came out with your doll, Mary Magpie, and it just seeing you and Julian do it while I was just being a coward. It really gave me the push and inspired me that you both had, the courage of your convictions and actually did it. Um, so that's what got me started, and um, yeah, the influences were based on the European dolls that I discovered. And I thought, what's a doll that is quite well liked and collected, but not that well known? And that's why I honed in on Caprice, the French
Yeah.
doll,
Yeah.
because I thought she's so expensive, because at the time the prices were high. Well, they're high now. They kind of go up and down, actually. So I thought, if I make a more affordable version of something that resembles her but is a new entity as well. So that was the kind of the seed of the idea, and it just went from there, basically.
That's amazing. That's so amazing. And I followed, from your infancy in that it's so cool to follow your journey. And I mean, sharing stuff that you shared, like the factory and how they did different processes, and even the seamstresses that I think you worked with a seamstress making clothing and all of that. It was quite a journey, and um, there was an artist. You brought someone on to do the art, right, for the booklet?
So I did the art myself
Oh,
until
okay.
series 5 or 6, and then someone had done some fan art, and it was so nice. And then I asked if he would do, because by that time I was spreading myself so
So
thinly,
thin.
and I loved
Yeah.
his art. It was much better than anything I ever did. His name was Dai Assis from Brazil, and he's so talented. So I brought
Yeah.
him in later, yeah. But initially, for the first 4 or 5 booklets, I did all the artwork myself.
That's
You can see
so
the change because it suddenly went from down there to up there when he started doing it. Because he's a
Well, I
lot better
love
than
it
I am.
though because it's so charming. I mean, your art is so charming, and I feel like, it's cute because even Barbie went through some different changes through her eras or whatever of what the art style looked like and
Yeah,
whatnot. So,
yeah. So yeah, I've always had collaborators. I can't sew for beep, and so I always design the collections, but I have people that make the clothes for me. It's very collaborative. We
yeah.
choose fabrics together, and sample and prototype. But yeah, I'm very lucky to have worked with some very, very talented people.
Yeah, it's really, I love collaborating. And I love actually I'm gonna be collaborating kind of in a weird off way with Julian because he has dolls that he doesn't want to do anything with anymore, and I showed interest in, and so I'm gonna be
Okay.
doing some dolls that are technically Julian's dolls, but doing them in my take or whatnot. So that's going to be a fun little project.
Oh wow! What about you're going to do the hair and the face ups and the
And the
outfits?
clothing and yeah, yeah. So
Okay. Oh
yeah,
wow! Yeah, that
it'll be
sounds
fun.
exciting.
Yeah, Julian, he just was like, he's like, I don't want to like go back to that. I don't want to do that anymore. And also I don't want them to sit and not be, put to use. And so I said,
Yeah,
please, I'll do it. That sounds
yeah,
fantastic. It's a fun, I'll take the challenge.
yeah, yeah. Good, good. I
Collaborate.
look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, yeah. So Anouk. Well, actually, let's go back to Virgin Archer. So where did you get the name for your studio?
So, my daughter is a Virgo, and my son is a Capricorn. So
Oh,
that's the symbols for their two astrological signs.
I
So
love
that's how it came up.
that.
That's how it came up with Virgin Arch. I wanted a name that was personal, and you know what it's like. It's so hard to think of
Yeah.
anything that doesn't sound contrived or pretentious or has been done before. So I thought, just do something personal. Whatever I do, Joey, I always try and do it with integrity.
Yeah.
I know that sounds a bit naff, but I think if you do things that are your own field of interest or what you're passionate about or what's dear to you, it comes through in your work. If you're just trying to, you know, lasso an idea because you think it will be popular or you can make money off it, ultimately it's a bit soulless,
Yeah.
and I think it won't have longevity. So I think if you work with integrity and honesty, and people see it in your work. So whenever I've named them or whatever, or the name of my studio, it's always very personal to me. The themes that I choose, or it's the things that I like. And being a collector, I I try to put into my dolls what I like as a collector and what I would want. And touch wood, it's stood me in good stead for 10 years. It's the
That's
10th year of
amazing.
Anouk, by the way, this year.
That's amazing. Happy 10-year anniversary.
Thank you.
That's amazing. So Anouk, the name Anouk, what brought you to that?
So um, initially, she was going to be called something else. I wanted a name that was very evocative of the period that I was interested in. So 60s France, 60s Paris, basically, because I was a massive fan of French New Wave cinema. And apart from Bollywood, that was my other big influence. I love the whole pop music scene and the films that were made then, and a lot of the actresses. And there was a European actress called Capucine, and that's initially what I wanted to call Anouk. And this was my very first sketch that I did.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so beautiful, Nav.
The very first concept art I ever did, and you can see the name there.
Yeah, that's
But then I
awesome.
then I found out that Mattel had issued a Silkstone with that name,
Oh.
and you know how litigious Mattel are. So I thought I'm not going anywhere near that.
Yeah, yeah.
Back to the drawing board, and I was looking at sort of actresses and pop princesses, the yeah yeah girls that I liked, and they were all names that had either been used or for other dolls like Sylvie, and I was trying to find something, and then I remembered there was an actress that I really liked called Anouk. Uh, let me show. She's up there somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, she's
Uh,
beautiful. Yeah.
and I really liked that name, and I thought it was very, very evocative of France in the '60s, and it was short and quirky, and I went through loads of different names before I finalized that one. So that was how I came up with it.
Well, it's a beautiful name and it feels very original and individual. Really works for her. It was a great choice. Starting with Anouk, she obviously needed her best Judy. And so that's when we get Fan Fan. Fan Fan comes in as I'm she is her best Judy, correct?
She's a, yeah, yeah. So, like you say, every doll needs a foil. So, um, Anouk was always pitched as, a very innocent ingenue, quite well brought up young lady, a bit prim and proper. Yeah, a very conventional idea of a fashion doll in the 60s,
Yeah.
quite preppy, quite conventional. So I wanted, and I do like that in dolls. That's the thing that I like. I love the sort of street clothes and suits and the little gloves and hats, and that's why I love Japanese fashion in the Japanese exclusive aesthetic. I love all that,
Yeah.
even though I'm not like that myself. But so with Fan Fan, I felt like I had a bit more freedom because she was a secondary character, if you will. She's the midge to the Barbie, and
Right.
I felt like I could really just do what I wanted to. So I knew I wanted her to be quirky, a bit offbeat. She was definitely going to be the sort of libertine, as opposed to the ingenue, where she was a bit naughty and a bit off the wall,
Yeah.
a bit more daring and adventurous. And I wanted a name that would reflect someone that was fun. And so Fanfan is actually a diminutive of Francoise, but I like quirky names. I was even looking at sort of Oriental names. I like names that are unusual. They're spelt unusually, or they're quirky in some way, and it's a talking point as well, isn't it? Because people wonder about it, and
Yeah.
I get lots of questions about what is that name? Where does it come from? If you're not French, you wouldn't know.
Well, like
So
I butchered it and said fan fan.
everybody
I'm
does.
sorry.
Even I do sometimes. Even I do sometimes. So, and again, I was talking to you about influences that are personal to me and what I'm passionate about. So Anouk was very much influenced by the Caprice doll, but she's definitely evolved to become her own character. But you can definitely see that there's a relation there, and they're
Yeah.
related. And one of my other favorite dolls is a Mexican doll called Barbara Parlante, which means talking Barbara. And she was made under license from Mattel, but they weren't allowed to call her Barbie. So she has a very similar face to the twist and turn. I don't know if
Yeah,
you know these dolls, Joey.
I've had a couple of them in the past. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to me, their faces are so unusual because they have quite sort of slanted eyes. They're quite close together, and they
Right.
always reminded me of Karen Black, the actress.
Yes.
I
Yes.
al- I always like faces with close set eyes. Lots of character and personality. So she was kind of the basis for Fanfan, and you can definitely see the resemblance there. And I won't lie. While I collect those dolls and I love them, I have a big collection of both. Um, of course, you look about saleability, and I realize there's already a market for Caprice, there's already a market for Barbara.
Yeah.
So hopefully, those collectors will be interested as well. And
Yeah.
that did happen, but it wasn't a cold clinical thing where, oh, I don't even like this doll. I've been collecting them anyway. I liked them, and that's why um, they came up in the work, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it's like the suntan dolls with blonde hair. Their coloring is inspired by Malibu Barbie. There's so many different influences. My black dolls with red hair, they got that idea from Black Frances, and this it's all the dolls I collect and like, and I've taken elements and put them in, so to speak.
Yeah. I love that.
So yeah. Um, It'd be great to expand the line even more, but as you know, it's very, very expensive to create
Yeah.
a new doll with the molds, and we're talking thousands and thousands, so
Yeah.
it's quite limiting. I'd love Anouk to have a boyfriend one day, but watch this space.
Right, right. I love that. So
Yeah.
your personal on your personal collecting level, I see all or saw all of those cases behind you. I know you have a pretty crazy extensive collection of a lot of rare European dolls. I know you collect Willy and a bunch of other different dolls. What's your like what doll are you most passionate about? I mean, obviously your own, but besides your own, what you collect, what are you most passionate about?
As a collector, there's two levels. So on the one hand, there's the things I remember from childhood. So that's Cindy and Pippa, because they just have such an emotional place in my heart, and they're
Yeah.
just so evocative of my childhood. Um, but purely as a collector and dolls that I spend the most money on, it is actually the Willy Wildebass dolls and the Schwabinchen dolls. So Schwabinchen is basically another doll based on a comic strip like Build Lily, and they
Mhm.
even have the same clothes as Build Lily. And then they sold the molds to a Dutch company, a Wildebass company that made Willy. So the mold is the same, but the dolls are quite distinctively different. So they're probably my biggest and most passionate collection. And then the Barbara dolls and Caprice. So those four, I would say, are my main what I'm actively collecting and still buy.
Right, right. There's
So
there's a doll you were showing that I saw pictures of and I they were bendy, kind of like a flag doll. Girls that had like, painted tits and like were
ah yeah,
I I want to pick your brain about those because I would love to get one of them. They're beautiful. I collect flag dolls. I don't know if you know what those are. Um,
no.
they're very similar to what you showed, but they are not as sexy and fashion doll looking as the ones that you have. They're but they're very similar. They're like a bendy Gumby type doll, and they made lots of like dolls of the world and different things with them. But they're really cool. I just think they're interesting and neat. And so I saw those dolls and I thought immediately thought of like the Go-Go's or the Rock Flowers or they just gave this like really cool 60s kind of um hip vibe or Hollywood, kind of like a weird Hollywood vibe to them or something. I don't know. They were really I'd never seen I've seen that type before, but I'd never seen those before. So I was automatically like, what are those? Like,
So their story is it's kind of similar to the Kiraz Mamselle dolls,
yeah.
from Paris. So they were actually there was an artist that did these pin-ups, very risque topless pin-up art, and then I don't know how or why, unlike the Kiraz and the Build Lily, somebody decided to make dolls from some of the famous artwork. So that's their story. And I think actually they're 70s, early 70s. Do you want me to go and show you those?
Yes, I would love to.
Sorry, another doll that
Very
I
good.
forgot that I am very passionate about and actively collecting is this one, who you probably recognize.
Oh, yeah.
Steffi. East German Steffi dolls. I love these.
Yeah.
They're so quirky. So anyway, these are they. So they came in this
Oh, they came
packaging.
in those tubes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was actually very lucky that I bought a doll on eBay in the tube, which is quite rare to find.
Yeah.
And the guy said to me, "Oh, actually, these are my dad's, and he's died. I have a whole collection of them." I see some were
Wow.
sold in boxes, these boxes as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works and what they were, but there's for a lot of them there's corresponding artwork. Like this one is the French Revolution with her red cap and her her
Yeah.
French flag colours, and this is obviously Josephine Baker inspired. So yeah, he had this collection, and he said, "I can cut you a deal if you want to buy multiple dolls." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Yes." So they were expensive, but they were a good price for a collection. So
Yeah.
all the tubed ones I bought from one seller, and the others I've just collected over the years when as and when I could find them.
That is so
Um,
cool.
so yeah, I mean some of them are quite risque,
Yeah,
but
she
some of them are,
yeah, those are
yeah.
fabulous. I think the couple of the ones you showed, the topless ones that you showed, there were a few of them that I was like, "Oh, those are the one. That's the one I want."
What
There's,
the topless ones?
yeah, I like the topless ones.
Yeah.
They're
I
so
mean,
cute.
I can ask him if he's got any left.
Yeah,
I don't know if he sold them all now.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's them.
That's so cool.
These are my Brazilian Susie dolls, which is like related
Oh
to
yeah.
Tammy.
Were those Estrella?
Yeah. So the first ones had like painted eyes,
Yeah.
and then they went to glass eyes.
Mhm.
But again, the fashions were just so groovy
They are
and
so
funky.
groovy.
And look at this one.
That is so fun. I love that.
Uh, And then Estrella made smaller dolls, which are also bendy, a bit like the Go-Go's.
Yeah.
Um, and they're just like miniature versions of the same fashions.
How cute.
Um, what else? So you've seen the Steffies. Here are my Dawns.
Aw, look at
These
Dawn.
cabinets, these cabinets are a mess. Um, but going back to childhood, like this was the only Cindy doll that my sister had, and that was bought for her when she was about 12.
Yeah.
So it's quite hard to find. And then the Pippa dolls in the boxes was what I remember coveting and looking at.
Oh, those are
And
fabulous.
do you know Tricky Mickey?
Yeah, I love Tricky Mickey. I
Yeah.
always feel
So
like she doesn't get what she deserves because
yeah,
she's such a beautiful doll, but she's just kind of
but
never,
but in it,
yeah.
yeah, in England she was called Bendable Babs. You
Oh
see
my
that?
gosh. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
So it's the same doll and the same outfit and everything, but they just rebranded her because somehow they felt that's what the Brits would like better.
Yeah, they kind of, a few of them that you photographed even give me a little bit of that like 60s into the early 70s Bollywood feel as well, even though they're not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's going back to what we were saying about how westernized Bollywood was in the 60s, like I'll show you. Like even the name of this film, this is a Bollywood film. It's called An Evening in Paris,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And these are like the big stars of the 60s. She's a Bollywood actress.
Oh, wow.
Uh, she's a Bollywood actress. You see how modern
Yeah.
she's a
No,
Bollywood actress, and
I always felt that Bollywood was very modern and it was kind of edgy, almost edgier in a sense because they indoctrinated this European fashion, but with their own style and flair. Like
Yeah.
and I always felt like it was a really magical combo. And sometimes when I watch some musical scenes and whatnot from movies like that, it's so mind blowing because I'm like, I don't even think they can make something like this today. It's
Yeah.
so over the top and so like beautiful and so performance. Now that we're
So,
back in that room, are you going to show us what else is there? Because I know there's all those cases there. We want to
okay,
see.
so here I've got like my Anouk and Fanfan archive, so all the series so far, and then I've got, I suppose, what are my favourite dolls. I have a cabinet of vintage and mod Barbie and Francie. Oh, Francie is a doll that I love a lot as well, more than
Yeah.
Barbie actually. I have a few sort of liquor Japanese dolls, and then it's mainly the Willy and the Schwabinchen, the Barbaras and the Caprice. But I'll show you.
Yeah, I'm excited to see.
So here are the Barbaras and the Caprice. Oh, and I'll show you what's down there.
Wow.
Uh, These are the Barbara dolls, the talking dolls. You can see
Oh, that's
the
so,
resemblance to Twist and Turns.
yeah, that's great.
Do you know what I mean about Karen Black?
Oh, I 100% know what you mean. I
You
even
see it?
before you said that, that's what I think of when I look at those dolls.
That's the original swimsuits that they were sold in.
How cool.
Um, but you see a lot of their outfits
Are
were influenced by Barbie
very
fashions.
much so, yes.
Um, so, and then these are my Caprice dolls, all in original fashions.
Wow.
Um, and I'm glad I started buying these a long time ago because the prices have really gone up.
Yeah.
There's her little booklet.
Beautiful. Oh,
And
cool.
then these are the reproduction Kiraz
Mamselle.
dolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I
Since I,
didn't know
I have
that you
no
were so into them.
I have no hope of getting the uh the originals because they sell for thousands.
Had the original in my hands for a reroute project that my partner that I was with at the time was doing reroutes, and then my friend Cynthia in Guam, she had sent an original Mamselle to us to reroute, and I was surprised because the size is different than the
Ah,
Mamselle.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that
yeah,
I think there was I think the vintage ones. I think there were two sizes, maybe. I think there
yeah.
was bigger ones, but even Caprice, there's one that's the later versions are taller and they have a twist waist. So yeah, I think there might have been two sizes, but they did all kinds of weird stuff like half dolls in a picture frame and perfume bottles and toilet roll holders,
Right,
and
right.
so there's all kinds of variations. So these are the German Schwabinchen dolls, and these ones they were only made for 1 year, and they were also based on this comic book character who's the same artist as Build Lily.
How cool.
So she had her own comic strip, but these dolls were very different to Lily, and most people hate them because they think they look strange and they have claw-like hands. And
I love that about them, though.
but to me, she's probably my favorite doll,
Yeah.
Schwabinchen, and they're really good quality. And as I say, all these outfits were made for Build Lily as well, and they just tailored them differently to fit this doll.
Wow.
Um, so the difference between her and Willy is Willy only comes with two hair colors, whereas she has lots of different hair colors. And
Oh,
she has bangs, and Willy doesn't have any bangs.
yeah.
But Willy has short hair or long hair only. Usually only blonde or brunette. I mean, I've customized a few to be redheads. So these are the Willy dolls.
Wow.
That's a rerouted Schwab edition. So they're slightly inferior quality. This is a very rare hairstyling booklet.
How cool.
Um,
Oh my
so these are
gosh,
my Willies.
Nav. Oh
Yes, I
my
think you can.
God.
I think you can tell who my favourites are.
I would have had a collection like this if I didn't have to sell so many things because I was broke all the time.
Oh, Joey, I've sold my doll collections about 3 times over and had to start over when I've needed
Yeah,
money. So
yeah.
I, I get it. I feel your pain. So
Oh,
these are the vintage
wow.
Barbies. These are original Bill's Lilies
Beautiful.
in
Wow.
original outfits. I have 3 of them. I'm lucky enough to have 3.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I tried to do like, I don't have a lot of vintage Barbie, but I've just tried to do like a timeline. So like
Yeah.
the number ones, number
Wow.
threes, and then like that's another number one, number 4, 5, bubble cuts,
How cool.
American Girls, um,
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
color magic. That's all my. That's the only
Yeah.
vintage Barbie I have. And
Yeah.
then this is my little Japanese shelf.
Oh, I
There's
love that.
there's a living Barbie, Eli, Japanese Midge, Japanese Francie, Jenny, Japanese Anouk, of course,
I love that.
Skipper, and my vintage liquors.
How cute. You got the Lika
Um,
trio there.
yeah, yeah. And then this is my Mod Barbie and Francie. So
Wow.
TNT's standards.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I am Sado. I like them in their original swimsuits. Like people are saying to me, why don't you dress them? But I just like having every hair color. Like we're talking about variations.
It's like
And
candy. Yeah.
yeah, I just like having them. I've got some of my favorite outfits. So these are Japanese ones.
Yeah.
Um, but I love seeing like the same doll with a different hair color in the same swimsuit. I don't know. It just gives me a thrill because I'm a weirdo.
No, I love it too. That's beautiful.
This is
Wow.
my Francie collection.
Your German Francie and Black Francie. Beautiful.
These are Japanese ones.
Wow.
I have a real Sun now. I don't have to make them.
Oh, that's
um,
so cool.
actually, Francie was quite an influence on Anouk. You know, her whole aesthetic. She's quite preppy and
Yeah.
Miss Goody Two Shoes. I love that about Francie. So that definitely came out in
I see that
my work.
influence. Yeah,
Oh,
that's amazing.
and these are the European dolls that were made in the early 70s.
Oh yeah, with
with the
the
with the
Steffi
steppy
face
steppy
mold.
face. I
Yeah.
really like these, and I'm lucky to have a few redheads and brunettes as well.
That's so, yeah, the brunettes I rarely see. I mean, I know the redheads are a little rare as well, but the brunettes I don't see very often at all.
All mine have come from Australia, so I don't know if they were only made in Australia or,
Yeah.
but maybe I don't know. So this is the Anouk
Yeah.
archive.
I'm excited for the Anouk archive.
So hang on, sorry, this room is a mess.
No, it's
So
okay.
this whole cabinet is like a timeline. So this is series 1.
Wow.
There's a few customized things like the Braniff stuff was not part of an Enix series, but I just put those on some of the first series dolls.
Wow.
Then there was series 2, Anouk in Japan. So these had different faces. So that was the first face.
Yeah.
And then there was a Japanese kind of market face that looks more Japanese.
Wow. I love that.
So That's series two, the kimonos, of course.
I remember the kimonos really fondly. That's beautiful.
So this is all the booklets over the years.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize you had done so many different booklets. That's amazing.
So I did the artwork for that and for that and for that, and then Di came on here. So he did the artwork there. He did Fonfons and the last Bollywood one.
How cool.
And then series three.
Wow.
But you can see like how I'm emulating what I like as a collector, like all the little accessories
Yeah.
and spectacles and necklaces and the booklets. It's
Yeah.
all what we collect, isn't it? That was the next series. So this series was based on a film called Girl on a Motorcycle, actually.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. I got the poster.
yeah, the poster there. So this was all Marianne Faithfull's wardrobe in that film,
Wow, that's so cool.
basically. Yeah, that was
Wow.
all. And
That's
then
a
series.
I
Sorry.
love that idea of just like taking something like that and it's so cohesive and awesome because it's just basically, a wardrobe from actress in a movie and that just works so well.
Yeah. Yeah. If you see the movie, like her whole wardrobe was done by a Paris fashion house called Lanvin, and it was so stylish. And I
Wow.
loved the cat suit in particular.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's
and then the next series was it was based on the Italian S girls, the Furga dolls.
Oh yeah, I recognize already the black and white dress. And
Yeah.
it's but David Buttry, who designs Poppy Parker, he actually did Misty Hollow's Poppy Parker. That
Ah,
was
yeah, yeah.
very
I remember that.
obviously inspired by them. Yeah, that's so awesome.
So I always loved the fashions of those dolls, and I wish that I could collect them, but they're so big. And
Yeah,
it's not a scale that I collect. And I always thought I wish that they'd done these fashions but sort of Barbie size. And so I did it myself.
I
I've
love
seen
it.
like artists do like one of a kinds before and stuff, but
Yeah,
I did it in a series. And actually that's one of the best selling we were talking about crossover and influence. A lot of those Italian collectors bought some Anouks
yeah,
because they were a scaled down version. It was like an extension of their collection.
that's so
So this
cool.
is the Bollywood collection, the last series.
Oh wow.
So we were talking about fusion, so like very Indian fabrics, even though maybe the
Yeah.
cut and the designs are westernized. I mean, and these are all inspired by specific outfits worn by specific actresses in films that I've just really liked.
Oh, I love.
Uh, so again, very Indian fabric.
Yeah. Oh,
I
they're
mean, that one's very obviously Indian. Sorry, it's so dark.
no, it's okay. I can see him pretty well.
But again, like a very westernized dress, but brocade fabric.
Yeah, it's
And
beautiful.
I can't show you what's on the next shelf because that's the next series,
I
which
was
hasn't
just
been.
gonna say what I was gonna say. So show us a little bit of a tidbit of what the next part of the journey is gonna look like.
When the interview's over and you switch the record off, I'll show you.
Okay, okay.
So this is Fosse. I nearly did it.
Yeah.
Fon's first series.
Wow.
Um, yeah, that's all the dolls actually. And then the Bollywood Fon's.
Wow. I love it. I love that
I'm
black.
always I'm always surprised. This one.
The one before her in the middle.
Oh, her.
Yeah. She gives me live action Christie vibes in that outfit. She's beautiful.
Um, there's a pink variation
Oh,
of it,
it's gorgeous. I love it.
and so that's everything in this room. This is like my inspiration wall. So it's again like favorite films, actresses.
Yeah.
It's like my permanent mood board. But I look at it, it gives me ideas and it inspires me. And so you can see like there's the French films, there's the Bollywood films, there's the pop princesses, and of course I had to put Anouk with all my favourite French actresses. So I don't know if you ever saw these. I think I put them on Flickr. I did a sort of composite as if that Anouk was being photographed with them in the 60s.
I love that. That is so cool, Nav.
Have you
That's
never seen
beautiful.
these?
No, that's fabulous.
So,
I love
and
it.
then that's Sylvie Vartan promoting the Kiraz dolls.
All right.
And there's Sheila, who did a boutique collection for Caprice.
Wow. That's so amazing. I love your museum.
There's a there's a little glimpse of what's coming next. Some earrings for the
Ooh, we
next
get a
series.
sneak peek of something. That's exciting.
Um, yeah, so
How
that's it.
That is so beautiful. I love, thank you so much for sharing that with us because it's intimate to, isn't it? Kind of to share your collection. It's kind of an intimate thing.
Yeah, it is, but it's nice because I don't know any local collectors here,
Mhm.
and so it's nice to talk about it with your colleagues and your
Yeah,
fellow collectors. And I know we have photo sharing things, but it's different, isn't it?
it's very different. Yeah. And I love being able to kind of see it in person.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
it's so beautiful.
I haven't seen many people's collections, but when you do, it's I don't know. Even if you've got the same dolls, it's still a thrill, isn't it? To
Yeah, it
see,
really
how
is.
they present them, how they keep them, how they dress them, whatever. It's just like,
And yours is exactly how I thought, I mean, I'd seen pictures, so I kind of knew how you displayed and whatnot, but everything of yours is so impeccable. It's just like
no,
it's
it's not.
it really is. I
Trust
mean
me. I'm very good at faking it. No, I mean, some of my stuff is mint, but a lot of them are like fixer-uppers because, we're doll artists. We
Yeah.
have the know-how. But I do go to great lengths. Like I'll get a TNT that's she's got all her hair and her makeup, but I might have to give her new lashes. I may have to find a new ribbon and buy a vintage outfit that used the same ribbon and find
Yeah.
another swimsuit. So, they don't all come factory mint.
Right, right. No, but you make sure that they're impeccable. I mean, by the time that they're in the case and they're on display, they're amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got a few projects now. Like I got a couple of Barbaras when I was in Mexico.
Oh,
So I'm just
fun.
fixing those up, and a Tintin doll from Thunderbirds.
Oh, that's fabulous.
So I'm always fixing stuff up. I had to repair the neck knob on this, and so yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I mean,
I
I like mint. I like mint dolls, but fixer uppers, they're like your babies. They're more personal, aren't they?
It's very true. It's very
The
true.
one the one thing I try and avoid is reroutes, full reroutes, or I like them to have original faces if it's possible.
Hmm.
But otherwise, I don't mind like fixing the hair and restyling it. And I've had ponytails where I've had to reset the ponytail, and you
Yeah.
know.
I
Mm.
I think that it's kind of fun because it feels like when I get a chance to have time to work on a project like that, it's kind of like my playtime, I guess, because
Yeah, yeah,
most of my life and work is making dolls, and then when I have those moments where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do a salon day and I'm gonna boil some skipper's hair and I'm gonna, do different things.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
my kind of like play actual playtime.
yeah. Oh, actually, speaking of that, let me show you something. So, I'm quite a big James Bond fan as well, and my favorite one, surprise, surprise, is the one set in Japan. You only live twice. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I haven't actually.
So
I
they
might
did
have when I
make
was a kid, but I don't remember.
yeah, they made a doll of the leading lady, but it's mega rare. But I wanted all of them, so I made my own, including boxes. So these are the actual official dolls, Bond and Kissy, but
Wow.
there were other characters.
Oh,
Um, so
cool.
I got vintage clones and I made dolls of how I think they would have been based off of these. But
Wow.
I made boxes for them as well, if you can see them in the back.
I can. That's amazing, Nav. That's amazing.
But that, like you say, that's purely just for me, not to sell. It's just like a
Yeah.
break from our work and our own interests and our
Oh,
own little projects.
that's so cool. I love all of that.
And so you do get stale, don't you, and a bit jaded, and you need a break, and
It's
so
true. And I can
yeah,
even lose I never lose love for what I create, but sometimes like you said, it can feel a little stale, and that's why I have jumped around a lot in what I'm doing, and I started making trolls and different things that were more whimsical or playful. Like I did some fashion dolls that had flower heads, and stuff, because it gives me a break from, as much as I love fashion dolls and doing that, it's nice to kind of have something else that I can jump to that is more like, oh, we can be really crazy and do something
mm,
really out there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean your output. I just think, how does he have the energy, and how does he have the ideas? Because you're unstoppable, and
It's
like you've just come up with such original ideas that I couldn't even think of.
It's
And
so hard though, because it's a gamble, because I have lots of successes, but I also have flops, and
yeah,
when you're putting that much energy and love and work into something, and then for it not to take very well, sometimes that can be really detrimental because that's my livelihood. So as much as it's nice that I can do whatever comes to mind and just put it out there, because I have this weird, I don't know. Maybe it's like this inner time clock where I feel like I've got to get all of this done before I die. Like I have all these ideas and all these inspirations, and I want to get them manifested in some way. And so I'll be working on them. But then, when you have one that's a fail, it's kind of devastating, not only financially, because then you have to figure out where
yeah.
what else you're gonna do to bring that money in, but it also is personal because you're putting your personal things out there. But yeah, I think that I'm just crazy, Nav. I'm just working all the time.
I think we have to be to do what we do. We have to be a little
Yeah.
little bit crazy, don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
So
And I need to I have to incorporate a lot of activity. I'm starting to incorporate a lot more activity in my life because I just became a big old bear, because everything, even though I'm working 24/7, I'm everything is sitting down, I'm painting, I'm sculpting, I'm, whatever, even the sewing
Yeah,
machine, and so I'm at that point where I'm like, oh yeah, I have to take the time to go out and hike and go do, get out
yeah,
of the
yeah,
place.
yeah. I've been through that. I have a lot of back problems because of the work, and you
Yeah.
have to remember to take breaks and change the tasks that you're doing. And um, it's funny because people can be so flippant about it. They don't take it seriously. Like my partner is from a private banking background, and when his friends come, there's always two types of reaction. The ones that are like, "Oh, this is so interesting. I didn't know you could make a living. Tell me, ask questions." And the others that come and sort of he'll say what I do, and they'll be like, "Anyway,
Uh-huh.
they just
Uh-huh.
can't. It's so out of their orbit. They just can't deal
Yeah.
with it, or you know, but whatever."
Yeah. I have that experience when in the studio that I have now, they do kind of like twice a year they do a studio tour walkthrough where people come through and check out all the different studios in the school. And boy, it's really funny to watch some of the reactions because these people
Mm.
are coming here looking at like paintings and art and pottery and stuff, and then they get brought into my room, and either they are like, oh, this is amazing, and this is like my childhood, and this is so cool.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
they don't say anything and they have complete judgy faces on and they're like, and they walk
yeah,
out, and it's like, well,
yeah, yeah. You can't please everyone.
no, no, not at all.
Yeah, I'm quite proud that it's my 10th year this year. Quite can't quite believe that it's flown by so quickly.
It's amazing.
And there are a lot of doll artists working now, but I feel like from the original crew, there's not that many that have lasted as long as, say, Julian, you, and I.
Yeah,
Um, sorry if I've. Is there anyone else that's from our sort of that's been doing it as long as we have?
no.
Is it just the three of
No.
us?
I think
And
it's just the three of us for the longest time, the three amigos, and then I think that, when did Fabiola, Mike Buse's Fabiola came around, but that's
that was,
fairly recent. I mean, that would have been
yeah,
within the last 5 years,
yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
or maybe
So
4 years.
I'm proud that
Yeah.
we're the original three, so to speak.
Yes, I love that.
And we're still here, and we're still making dolls,
We're
and
still doing it.
we're still doing it.
I love that too. It does
So
frighten me sometimes because there's so many young people now that I mean, I'm really excited to see new things, and I'm so excited for the youth that has really like connected with dolls and in a really big way, and there's so many young people that are now doing their own build lilies and that are doing, different 3D printed fashion dolls of their own, and I love that, but it also terrifies me.
but how do you feel? Because you were the first person to do a 3D doll,
Yeah.
and now everyone's doing 3D dolls. How
Yeah.
how do you feel about that?
I feel like I should be living better, Nav.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it is what it is. I don't know. I really do believe in fate in a sense, and I believe in the universe, and things are meant to happen the way that they're meant to happen. And I spent some time early on feeling upset that I felt like I wasn't recognized in certain ways, and then I
I
was
get
like,
that. Yeah.
and then it's like, well, it is what it is. I'm proud that, when I did my Google AI or whatever, and I ask about the first 3D printed doll and stuff like that, I come up. So that makes me happy. At least I'm recorded in history, and even if I didn't get any pats on the back.
I totally understand you, Joey, and I think it's disrespectful. To be honest, I'm always so careful. I don't know if you've seen any of my other interviews via podcasts or in magazines. I've always referenced you and Julian because you did influence me. You did give me the guts to do what I do. And I think it's important to acknowledge your influences and your predecessors. Like I said, it's about respect. And without wishing to sound big headed, I know there are some makers, I can see the influence of
Yeah,
my work
yeah,
very, very, very pointedly, but they will never say,
yeah,
oh, I was inspired by, or I loved something that Nav did.
right.
And I just think it's really disrespectful.
It is disrespectful, 100%. And, part of the reason why I really wanted to do this channel, like I have time, I have no, I have no time, but I decided to throw this other, flame on the fire because I thought to myself, nobody is documenting, nobody is like properly talking to these important people in doll history that are doing big and wonderful things. And I felt like it needed to be recorded. We needed to have some kind of something to show the legacy of these people. Sturgill, I don't know, because the youth today don't have Barbie Bazaar or Miller's Magazine, and they didn't have that experience. There's people that don't know about his influence or about how much he did to influence the doll world, and so I feel like it's so important to have something, to a platform to promote that, and also to promote the camaraderie between all of us, because I feel like that's just as important, because we're a community and we all love the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're doing a great thing. And thanks for including me.
Well, yeah, of course. Oh yeah, I'm gonna dig. I was already digging today. This morning I was going through your Flickr again and looking at really old stuff too, and
Yeah.
really bringing me back to that space when we first met, and it's magical.
I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without you. So,
Well, I'm
you know,
excited that I'm glad that we're the pioneers. The like I say, the three amigos.
yeah, we are. We are. Is it really just the three of us though? I feel like there's someone else, but maybe not.
Not that I can think of, that was making fashion dolls. Um, I,
Well, I suppose there's Mike Ben, the Kiraz guy.
oh, Chemo, Mike Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah. I, I, I don't know why I didn't think of, but I think the reason I didn't think of him is just because I feel like he does very much just reproductions. So maybe that's why I mean, that's kind of, I guess, Julian with Lily, but he does it in such an artful, different way, and then now has his own characters like Severin and stuff. So I
Yeah.
think I just didn't really think of Chemo Ben because I think that when I think of the things that he's done, which is amazing. I mean, what Millie reproduction, Mamzelle reproduction. He's done at least one other character,
Sophie.
Sophie. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's why I don't think of him, is just because I feel like, but he should be included because that is basically, he is doing the same thing.
He's also quite reclusive. He doesn't interact. He doesn't really
Yeah.
post other than the dolls. So it's understandable that he doesn't come glaring into mind. But
Yeah.
he's had amazing success. Man, I wish I could charge his prices. I tell you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those, yeah, the Mamzells were extremely successful for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Nav. It's been so exciting to be able to like have a look into your world and get to see some of your collection and talk about your beautiful Anouk and Fan. Fan. I want to
Fan
get this
fan.
right.
You can say fan fan. So many people do.
Oh, those crass Americans, the fan doll,
Fan fan.
fan. But it's been really awesome. And thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for agreeing to do this interview and giving us all a little peek inside your world. And I really appreciate you.
No, thank you for the opportunity, and it's been fun for me to talk to another doll creator and collector. So it's from a different angle. And also, it's the first time we've ever spoken, despite knowing each other for 17 years. So
I
that's been a treat.
know. It's really been great. I think I heard your voice I think for the first time when I watched your pod or listened to your podcast within the doll world.
Right.
And
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's the first time I'd like really heard your voice, which is lovely, by the way. Yeah. But well, thank you again, and we will be seeing you soon on YouTube.
Thanks, Joey. It's been fun. Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye.